Once upon a time, in a land of vast mountains and fertile valleys, two friends, made of elements as contrasting yet complementary as iron and gold, set out from their humble homes with a shared dream. They were determined to leave behind the familiar comfort of their villages and venture into the great unknown to discover what they could become and what their lives might hold beyond the borders of their childhood worlds. Their names, though simple, carried the weight of their aspirations. One was iron, sturdy, steadfast, and resilient. The other was gold, radiant, ambitious, and full of shimmering hopes. As they prepared to part ways, they clasped hands and looked into each other's eyes with a promise, a vow to meet again after 10 years at the same spot to see what they had each made of themselves in the span of a decade. John Iron said with a firm voice, "I'm headed for the city, where the towers touch the clouds and the streets are alive with the hum of commerce. I'm going to see what I can become among the craftsmen and traders, to learn what the world outside has in store for someone like me." "And I," Gold replied, his voice gleaming with excitement, "am headed over those mountains to the land beyond, where the kingdoms stretch far and wide, and the future is as bright as my own shine. But no matter how far I go, I promise to meet you here in 10 years, and we shall see what we've made of ourselves." "Good luck," Iron said, a smile touching his rugged face. "May the forge of your ambition burn bright, and may your gold find its worth." "Good luck," Gold echoed, returning the smile, their voices mingling with the whisper of the wind, as they finally parted ways, each heading toward their destined paths. 10 years passed in what felt like the blink of an eye. Time, however, was a patient and persistent witness, shaping each of them in ways they could scarcely imagine. Iron had become a blacksmith, working tirelessly in his forge, shaping tools, weapons, and fittings with skill and dedication. His hands, once rough and calloused, had grown even more hardened, their texture telling stories of fires and hammers, of sparks flying and metal taking shape. His life was simple, yet filled with purpose. Each piece he crafted was a testament to his craftsmanship and resolve. Gold, meanwhile, had journeyed over the mountains and into the land beyond, where he found himself amidst the grandeur of a royal court. His ambitions had carried him into the circles of power, and he had risen to become a chief treasurer, a trusted advisor to the king. His days were filled with the clink of gold coins, the planning of riches, and the dance of diplomacy. His life was one of luxury, palaces with shimmering chandeliers, gardens with exotic blooms, and banquets that lasted well into the night. Yet, despite the opulence, he often felt a subtle emptiness, an awareness that wealth and status could never fully replace the warmth of genuine friendship, nor the fulfillment of honest toil. After 10 long summers, the day of their promised reunion finally arrived. Both friends, now matured by their separate journeys, returned to the same spot where they had parted. Iron arrived first, his sturdy frame walking with a confident yet humble gait. He carried with him a sense of quiet pride, his eyes reflecting the glow of the forge fires he left behind. As he approached, he saw a figure waiting, tall, elegant, and unmistakably familiar. "John," Gold called out, his voice ringing with joy and a touch of nostalgia. The friends embraced warmly, the years melting away in that moment. The reunion was filled with stories, laughter, and the sharing of their experiences. Iron marveled at Gold's fine robes and glittering accessories, while Gold admired Iron's sturdy hands and weathered face, a testament to hard work and perseverance. They sat down together on a flat stone near the meeting spot, sharing a simple picnic they had brought along: bread, cheese, fruits, and some salted meats. As they ate, Iron looked around the lush surroundings and then turned to Gold. "So, tell me about the city," he said eagerly. What kind of life did you find there beyond the mountains? Gold's face lit up with pride. It's a world of splendor, he said, gesturing broadly. Palaces made of marble, streets paved with gold, and people dressed in garments woven from silk and embroidered with jewels. I've become part of the king's court, serving as his treasurer. I handle the kingdom's wealth, its treasures, and its finances. It's a life of luxury but also responsibility. Every coin I count, every decision I make has weight. I've learned that wealth brings power, but also burdens. Iron nodded thoughtfully. And what about you? Did you find what you were looking for beyond the mountains? Gold smiled wistfully. I found riches, yes, but more than that, I found a purpose. Serving the kingdom, helping it grow, and maintaining its prosperity. But I also learned that wealth isn't everything. There is a simplicity in your life, Iron, that I sometimes envy. Your hands are rough, but they shape something real. Tools, weapons, the very things that build and protect. Iron looked at his rough, calloused hands, then at his friend's shining jewels and fine garments. My life is different. I handle fire and metal every day. I forge swords, horseshoes, and tools that help the people in my village and beyond. It's hard work, but honest work. I don't need riches. I need to do my job well. That's what makes me proud. Gold nodded in understanding. Sometimes, I wonder if I've become too absorbed in riches and status. I miss the simplicity of a true friend. Someone who values what they do rather than what they own. They sat quietly for a moment, watching the sun set behind the mountains, the sky painted in hues of orange and purple. Then Iron spoke again. Let's promise 10 years from now we'll meet again here. No matter where life takes us, this spot will be our anchor. Agreed, Gold said sincerely. No matter how far I go or how much I have, I will always remember this promise. And so the friends parted once more, each returning to their respective worlds, carrying with them the memories of their shared past and the hopes for the future. The years that followed were filled with their own struggles and triumphs, joys and sorrows, but both held on to the promise they made that day. As time went on, Iron's reputation grew. His forge became renowned, and his craftsmanship was sought after by villagers, knights, and even those from distant lands. He worked tirelessly, often with sweat pouring down his brow, shaping steel into weapons of war and tools of peace. His hands became legendary for their strength and skill, and his humble village thrived because of his dedication. Despite the modesty of his life, Iron found contentment in his work, knowing that he was contributing to his community and maintaining a legacy of strength and resilience. Gold, meanwhile, continued to serve the kingdom, managing its wealth with wisdom and prudence. His influence grew, and he became a trusted advisor to the king. His life was filled with diplomatic meetings, grand banquets, and the management of vast riches. Yet, amidst the glittering halls and the treasures of the court, he often thought back to the simpler life of his childhood friend. He wondered if he had chosen the right path, or if he had left behind the true meaning of fulfillment. One day, after many years had passed, a new opportunity arose. A trade delegation from a distant kingdom, Reville, was arriving to establish alliances and trade agreements. The day before their arrival, the palace buzzed with preparations. Gold, now a seasoned statesman, was deeply involved in negotiating and ensuring everything was perfect. The delegation's arrival promised new riches and possibilities, but also new responsibilities. Gold knew that the outcome of these negotiations could shape the future of the kingdom and his own career. Meanwhile, Iron continued his work in the village forge, crafting weapons and tools to meet the needs of his people and the army. His reputation as a master blacksmith was well established, and his tools were known far and wide for their quality and durability. He took pride in his craft, knowing that his work helped defend and build his community. Despite his simple life, he had gained a deep understanding of the importance of doing one's best, regardless of wealth or status. On the day of the trade delegation's arrival, the palace was bustling. Gold was present, overseeing the arrangements, ensuring everything was in order. The delegation arrived in grand carriages, accompanied by their own officials and traders. The scene was one of splendor. Flags fluttered in the breeze, musicians played, and courtiers hurried to and fro. Gold received the delegates with warmth and diplomacy, eager to secure advantageous deals for his homeland. Back in the village, Iron was busy in his forge, preparing weapons and tools for the upcoming military needs. His work was meticulous, each piece a reflection of his dedication. He knew that the future of his village depended on skilled craftsmanship, and he poured his heart into every item he created. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the friends, now older and wiser, once again found themselves back at the original meeting spot. They looked at each other with a mixture of pride and nostalgia, remembering the promise they made a decade ago. "Look at us," Iron said, gesturing to their surroundings. "We've come a long way from that day." "And yet," Gold replied, "our friendship remains the same. It's the constant in a world of change." They shared a simple meal under the starlit sky, reflecting on their journeys. Iron spoke of his village and the tools he made, of the strength he found in his work. Gold shared stories of courtly life, of political intrigues, and the responsibilities that came with wealth and power. As the night deepened, they made another promise: to continue to value what mattered most: integrity, friendship, and doing their best in whatever they chose to do. They understood that true importance was not measured by riches or titles, but by the quality of their work, their character, and the love they held for their communities and each other. The years that followed saw each of them grow further in their respective paths. Iron's forge became a symbol of resilience and craftsmanship, and his tools and weapons were sought after across the land. His humble life was filled with the satisfaction of honest labor and the knowledge that he was making a difference in his world. He remained grounded and true to his roots, always remembering the promise he made to his friend. Gold continued to serve the kingdom with wisdom, overseeing its finances and helping shape its future. His life of luxury was balanced by the humility of his friendship with Iron, and the understanding that true worth came from doing one's best, regardless of station. His influence helped bring prosperity to his land, but he never forgot the simple joys of life and the genuine friendship that had sustained him through all his successes. One day, many years later, a new generation of villagers and courtiers heard stories of iron and gold. The blacksmith who built the tools of the land, and the treasurer who managed its wealth. Their stories became legends, inspiring others to value hard work, integrity, and friendship above all else. And so, the tale of the two friends, Iron and Gold, lived on, a reminder that no matter where life takes us, our true strength and worth lie in how we conduct ourselves, how well we serve others, and the bonds we forge along the way. Their journey, marked by dreams, dedication, and mutual respect, proved that greatness is not solely measured by riches or status, but by the integrity of one's heart and the quality of one's work. The end.